Hey, welcome back friend. Here in this lesson you're going to learn about various lasso tools for making a selection in Photoshop. So let's start. So generally we got three lasso tools in Photoshop. There's the basic lasso tool, a polygonal and a magnetic lasso. And here we are going to learn about all these three one by one. So when you go to the tools option on the left hand side, the top option just below the selection area selection tool, you got three lasso tools. You can hold left click for a long time to make a selection of these things. So first learn the lasso tool. So lasso tool is a simple tool where you can draw over the screen, over the photo, to make a selection. Okay, so you need not to hold or click. You just need to hold the left click, left mouse key, and hover around the selected area. If you have a drawing tablet, that's awesome for this tool, because it requires a gradual control or a hold over the image, but sometimes it could be difficult. So lasso tool is just a primitive tool, and it can easily select. If you're a good artist and you have a command over the selection using the drawing tablet pen, then this tool is very good and come handy for you because you can do so. But if you're using mouse, I won't recommend using the basic lasso tool. So you can know why, because if you're making a selection, it would be difficult. Sometimes things could be overlapped, something could be remained out, left out, and it would be difficult to handle. But you can zoom into the image closer to your subject and you can easily turn around with this thing. And you can copy the selected subject to different image in Photoshop, or you can create a composition from scratch. You can also duplicate the same selected area in the same image multiple times. Next is the polygonal lasso tool. So you can know that polygonal lasso tool will try to draw a polygon of any orientation. So here we draw a line. So once you click on a certain point, it will start creating a line. You have to click somewhere else, then you can do so. So it is ideal for symmetric selection. Say if you have some clear boundaries like a building or a skyscraper that has a clear line, it is better to use, because in the traditional lasso tool it won't be very nice. There could be some errors in the selected area, but it is a straight line. It's a combination of a straight line, and you can do the selection of some areas. Okay, and the third is the magnetic lasso, and magnetic lasso is one of the most useful lasso tool. So what does it do? It is just like a simple lasso tool. You have to draw over the screen, and even you don't need to draw. You are not required to hold a left click on the mouse. You can hover around and it will detect the boundary of your subject. So here we got a monkeys with a clear background, the plain looking background in the sky of the mountains, and this magnetic lasso tool works very well. But in order to have a fine selection, it is advisable to zoom into the subject, zoom into the image, and make a selection. So here this is the magnetic lasso. So it just try to stick all the points as if it is a magnet or attaching to ferrous substance. So this is a magnetic lasso. So when you are trying to crop something from an image like a face, some shapes, some objects, the magnetic lasso tool is widely used for fine adjustment. Sometimes the quick selection tool is not able to select everything. If you have a sharp boundaries, magnetic lasso will help. It may take some time, but it is the key thing that provides you maximum control with the advanced image direction of the Photoshop capabilities. And here it tries to understand the image and the boundary of the image. That's why. But if you hover around very quickly, it could do a few mistakes. So just don't rely on the boundary detection concept of the Photoshop. You have to look to the image, and best way to make a selection is to zoom into the subject. So once you made a selection, you can zoom out of the screen. So selecting a subject or the desired object on the screen is the key thing, and you can also replace that subject. Say here, when we zoom to the next monkey, we can clearly identify the face is not clearly superimposed. But if you zoom out to the bigger picture, you won't find any difficulties. Okay, so you can select this thing, and later on when you have the hairs or different things that cannot be selected very well in this way, we can use refine edge tool that you will learning in the coming lesson, and try to practice the lasso tool for making a selection. Keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hey, welcome back friend. Here in this lesson you're going to learn about very interesting selection tool in Photoshop. That's a quick selection tool. So quick selection tool is just like a paintbrush, and you can select your subject or object from the photo very easily and very quickly. So let's learn about the selection tool here. So you can find the selection tool just above the eyedropper tool, and this is a quick selection. So you just need your mouse, or if you have a drawing tablet, you can use a drawing tablet to make a selection. You have to just paint around the object that you want to have, say, and you can increase the area over time. You can change the size of the brush with the control, and you can also control the hardness and other options. So you just need to move it around the subject. Here we have a street dog, and we have to select it to make a selection. As subjects like a dog or humans have a lot of hairs, and we would require refine edge tool that we will be doing later after we have made the selection. So we just need to move around this brush, selecting entire area. Don't worry if unwanted areas have been selected, we can remove it very easily. So you just need to press the alt key and just paint over the area that you want to cancel out. So it's better to zoom into the photo to get a fine selection, and this is how. So we earlier we have selected both the legs and ground in between, and we can remove the leaves and other unwanted components from our mask. So here we are selecting, so just press the alt, hold the alt key on the keyboard, and just paint around using the selection brush. Quick selection is the fastest way to select any subject, although you can use a magic wand, you can use the lasso tools and other selection option as well, but I prefer using the quick selection tool when I'm in a hurry. Okay, and it selects the subject very well. It's widely used to make a selection. So here it is. We have just move around the photo, and here we have selected the dog, the face, the body, the legs, and now it's time to select the tail and remove few section near the ears that we want to remove. Just hold the alt and move around. It's better to use the smaller brush size when you are canceling or removing some components from the selection. Okay, because it will allow you to have the edges and the curves intact. Otherwise, if you take a bigger size selection brush, it will remove a bigger area, and it's not desirable in this scenario. So here just make a selection, and here's a quick tip that say your tail is with a medium size of the brush, but you have to take the size of the brush is smaller than the area to be selected. Okay, don't take it to the equal size, don't take a long size, just take it right small, a little bit smaller than the area to be covered, and remove unwanted sections whenever you want. Just try to make this selection and try to save it or create a mask of the photo, and if anything goes wrong, just press undo, Ctrl Z, and start again. So here it is. We have selected, and we will create a mask here. Just move to this create a mask option, and here we have isolated. Hi, welcome back friend. Here in this lesson you're going to learn about refine as tool in Photoshop. So let's start. So you can make a selection of your object from a photo using any of the selection tool, quick selection, magnetic lasso, the rectangle tool, or different tool. And there could be some surfaces like hairs on animals, humans, or different objects. Then you need to refine the selection. So you just select the mask, right click, and choose the option for selected mask. Or alternatively, you can go to the select menu just next to the filter and the layer panel, and just select same option, the selected mask. And here we are using the refine edge tool, and we can change the size, the hardness, and the spacing of this tool. And one by one, just select the surfaces that need to be refined. Like here we have the ears of this dog that has a hairy composition, and we have to select this thing. Just you need to just paint around the boundary. Okay, you already made a selection, and you just need to refine few surfaces and few components there. uh, when you zoom out and view it as a large image, it may look like a blurry, but once you have isolated it in the set in the background, it will disappear and will look very cool. If you don't use any refine as tool for masking hairs, your image would not look natural. In order to have a natural look where the surface of image are embedded in the background, or each individual hairs are finely selected, you need to define your selection as well. So just paint around the boundaries of your subject, slowly one by one. Sometimes if your shape is complex, it may take time, but it will generate a good image, and it will have a natural edit around the thing. So when you have a fairy or fluffy object with a lot of hairs or surfaces coming out, you can use this refine edge. Zoom into the subjects, the areas that you need to refine perfectly well, like legs, the nails, tail, and different surfaces. As animals like dog have a lot of hairs in its entire body, we need to make it a clear selection. But if you have subjects like human face, you don't need to use a refine edge over the entire face. You just need to have it over the hairs, the beard, and different things. So here we just need to make the selection. You can also use a minus or the plus option for the refine edge, and you got more options here. You can also control the transparency and different controls that are provided here using the slider options, but they are generally not required here. And hit the OK to make a selection. And let's zoom out to confirm that we have made a clear selection. So this final selection is a little bit different than the earlier one because it doesn't have the sharp boundaries. It has a gradual surface and natural looking object. And when we are done, just press OK and to make a selection, and here everything has been naturalized. And then we need to have some background. You can use this object as a PNG with a transparent background used in various projects for compositions or different things. um, so let's just place a solid here. You can place a solid different color. Here's this black color. You can change the color, and we can use the eyedropper tool to sample a color right from the skin of our subject, or you can choose a dark or the white background to have an isolated look and feel. People generally use the isolated background rather than using the transparent ones for subjects like stock photography, but you can use the transparent layer as well for different compositions, and just take a selection. So if you are making a campaign with some stray dogs or something like that, we can use this, cut out the selection for various compositions. So refine edge tool is very required mandatory skill to master when you are upgrading your skills, and using a selection is one thing, but refining your selection will take your photography skills to the next level. So just practice this thing perfectly well with different subjects. Take complex subjects with a lot of hairs and different selections. Keep learning and keep moving ahead.